Hello guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you come across this video on its Math Time Questions and Answers, a channel that gives you insights about the problems giving you headache at school. In today's video, we have realized that many people have a problem when it comes to mathematics due to the fact that they lack a basic knowledge of mathematics, and that's why we have gathered here today to create a video which we will call the fundamentals of mathematics, that will give you all the insights when it comes to basic knowledge of mathematics. And in this video we are going to have 8 units. These 8 units are going to be number properties in unit 1, order of operations in unit 2, fractions in unit 3, decimals unit 4, ratios and proportions unit 5, percentages in unit 6, graph and charts in unit 7, number bases and long divisions in unit 8. So each of these units will be made up of small short videos, which will be 3 and above videos with at most 10 minutes each. So stay with me as we are coming up with this video series. Let's look at the details of each unit, what each unit is going to be comprised of. So in unit 1, which is number property, we are going to be talking about the properties of commutative and associative. We are going to be talking about the inverse, identity, distribution properties, and the laws of zero. From there we are going to have a quiz on number properties. Then we are going to see unit 2, which talks about order of operations, and here we are going to be looking at GCD, GCF or HCF and the LCM, where GCD simply means great common divisor, great common factor, and the highest common factor, while LCM will be talking about the least common multiples of a number. From there we are going to be looking at positive and negative numbers and how to handle them, how to add and subtract negative numbers. This has always been a problem for many people, and you know, in mathematics, if you mix a sign, then you are off target. So we'll pay more attention on small details like this. Next part will be multiplying and dividing with different signs, that is positive signs and negative signs. Then from there we are going to be understanding and working with exponent. After then we are going to see order of operations, where we are going to be using BODMAS or PEMDAS. Okay, we'll know what the acronyms actually mean in due course. Then we are going to be talking about assessment on unit 2. Unit 3 is going to be fractions. Under fractions, we are going to be talking about the parts of a fraction and how we can actually visualize a fraction in real life. From there, we are going to be talking about equivalent fractions and how to handle problems when it comes to equivalent fractions. We are going to look at proper, improper, and mixed fractions. From there, we are going to be converting fractions to improper fraction, mixed fraction, decimals, and so on. We are going to look at fractions in lowest terms, how to convert a fraction into its lowest term. From there, we are going to be finding common denominators to a fraction so that we can easily simplify them. Then we are going to be adding and subtracting fractions with common denominator, adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. All of this we are going to see. Adding and subtracting mixed fractions, multiplying and dividing fractions and mixed fractions. And we are going to be having assessment on unit 3. So under assessment we are going to be doing all of these, and then you leave your answers on the comment sections of our YouTube channel. It's Math Time Questions and Answers, and we are going to be evaluating them there. From there we are going to move to unit 4, which is talking about decimals. In decimals, we are going to talk about the definition and decimal places. We are going to talk about rounding off a decimal, that is rounding up or rounding down a decimal place or a decimal number. We are going to be converting between decimals and fractions. We are going to be handling repeated decimals and how to convert them. We are going to do decimal operations, that is adding decimals, multiplying, dividing, and so on. We are going to have an assessment on unit 4 on decimals. Then we'll move to unit 5, which will be talking about ratios and proportions. Under ratios and proportions, we'll actually be dealing with ratios and their examples, what we actually mean by a ratio and how to handle problems with ratio. We are going to be finding unit rate and prices. We are going to be talking about expressing a ratio as a fraction, and then we will talk about proportion and their applications in real life. So this video series is going to be a little bit long, but it's worth it. From there, we are going to be talking about assessment on unit 5. Then we'll move to unit 6. We'll be talking about percentages. Under percentages, we will be talking about representing a number as a decimal, percent, and as a fraction. Then we'll talk about ratios and rates, how to handle problems under ratio, rates, and percentages. We'll be talking about calculating the percentage increase, decrease, and the discount on a particular product. We face such situations in our real lives every day, but we don't know how to handle it. So if you are a businessman, this is your section. Everybody needs this. Let's move on. We are going to be talking about the calculations on sales, tax, and commissions on products. Then we are going to unit 6 assessment, and from there we'll look at unit 7, which will be dealing with graphs and charts. Under graphs and charts, we are going to examine different types of graphs and how to interpret them, how to solve problems when you are presented with a graph or a chart. And the type of graphs we are going to be talking about here are the basic graphs, which will build you a knowledge under graphing, and then we can proceed detailed graphing in the later course. So under this part, we are going to be talking about average and probability, and then we'll talk about mean, median, mode, and range. From there, we'll be talking about the stem and the leaf plots and how to interpret these stem and leaf graphs. From there, we'll pick another graph which we'll call the line graphs and how to interpret it. Then we'll talk about the bar charts. From the bar charts, we'll talk about things like box and whiskers plot. Then we'll talk about the pie chart and the pictographs. From there, we'll have an assessment on unit 7, and then we'll move to unit 8, which will be number basis and long division. So in long division and number basis, we'll be talking about converting from base 10 to base 2. Then we'll convert from base 10 to any other base. From there, we'll convert from base 2 to base 10, and from base any other base to base 10. And then we are going to look at how to use the long division. And on that part, we are going to also know how to test for divisibility by 2, by 3, 4, 5, 10, and 12. So we just look at a number and we can tell if this number is divisible by 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, or 12 by just looking. I will show you first method on how to do this. And from there, we are going to look at assessment on unit 8. So guys, we have a long way to go, but stay tuned on It's Maths Time questions and answer by your guy Aloge Allen. So without much ado, we'll be having the first video on unit 1, which is properties and of numbers, in a short while, maybe by weekend. Thank you very much for viewing. Bye bye.